You're on.
Okay, I'm Linda Deir, and I'm going to be reading from chapter 28 of Guided today. That's the last chapter. This will be good, you guys. Last Saturday, I read to you from was it last Saturday? No, 2 Saturdays ago. I read to you from chapter 27 of my true life story, Guided. Her spirit guide angels were her best friends and life coaches. Clarity brings one epiphany after another. After the trip, I was flooded with one epiphany after another. If I were to sum up my mother's life, it would be that her anger and resentments caused her to miss out on much of what was available to her. As a child, she was confined in a religious cloister of simple minded people who thrived on their judgments. My mom hated it there. Her problem was that even though she left, she took it all personally, and that's what ruined her life. That's one of the first things my guides helped me understand, to never take any of it personally. Now I see from my mother's choices what can happen when a person takes it personally, and this is what, this is the outcome. So today, I will be reading to you from chapter 28 of Guided, Gratitude for Our Past and a Guided Future. So sit back and relax as I tell the story about how, despite the dysfunctions, my spirit guides took me on one journey after another that led to a greater understanding of myself. Guided, you guys. This is the paperback version right here, Guided. And I'm going to be reading from chapter 28. It's available on Amazon and Audible in paperback, Kindle, and audiobook format. And I read the book myself, read by the author. Okay. Chapter 28, Gratitude for Our Past and a Guided Future. After the crash of 2008, our CR News Report's predictions had been validated and were getting a lot more attention. That single event affected everyone, and no one could pretend that things were okay any longer. Unemployment was out of control. The financial institutions were melting down. The auto industry was collapsing. The world governments were under great pressure to meet their obligations. Real estate collapsed. And the cost of most essentials skyrocketed. Everything our personal readings and the CR News reports had been preparing our clients for was happening. Throughout 2009, Ray and I continued to build the channeledreadings.com project and along with its CR News reports as we continued to downsize our lives and burn through our capital. This was the year Ray's son, Rex, graduated from college, so finally that expense stopped. We even explored leaving the country knowing what was coming. Our guides told us that we would not be moving to another country, that our service to others would keep us here in the United States. We realized it was our mission to continue helping people navigate these challenging times. That was also the message we got for ourselves. We were already in the process of becoming truly lean and mean. So we were on the right path as we continued to downsize, becoming liquid and mobile. We were walking our talk. From 2004 through February of 2007, Ray and I had a carefree, magical time together. It was in that time that we were able to enjoy our new lives together while helping each other heal our past. We had to love and heal ourselves first before we could help others. Our relationship was built on a powerful foundation of fun, love, and healing. Between February 2007 and 2010, we made the bold decision that would turn our barge around. I say barge because it involved a huge releasing of all the things that represented value, which in hindsight would only contribute to more depletion of our cash, time, and energy while stealing from our future. It was a releasing of old thinking, priorities, beliefs, values, and stuff. We were we were careful not to either act too quickly or wait too long, as our own personal advisors helped guide us with perfect timing. Ray was reluctant to act on their advice for some time. I realized that he was not accustomed to this kind of help, so I stood back and allowed less positive outcomes to occur so he could learn. I looked at this as an investment in our relationship. It was critical to have him experience the downside of not acting on their advice. It would not help him if I just told him what I already knew. Time and time again, Ray would feel tormented because although we had their timely information, we didn't act on it. That went on for a few years. Although I knew I could have saved us from a number of financial losses, I could not interfere. He had to see this and know this as deeply as I already did without without interference from me. This was an investment in us. By September 2010, however, I knew this could no longer go on. Time was of the essence. On the plus side, Ray was now ready. He trusted me completely and acted with me without any previous fear or hesitation. What I did over the next month saved us from complete and total financial ruin. Ray was coming full circle by learning how to act on the timely information we had been getting from our guides for years. Ray was changed forever. He was now able to receive their timely advice and warnings and act on them with confidence. This was a big shift we took together. His shift was different from mine, but this investment in Ray was worth it and necessary if we were going to go forward together. It had become clear that paying on assets that had declined drastically was only prolonging the pain. In fact, we realized that anything with debt attached to it had to go. We were taking bold actions that others found too difficult or even impossible, let alone to do them on time before it was too late. The most important part was that we were mutual in our decision making. We were looking in the same direction together at the same time. It was perfect. Granted, we had the advantage of knowing what was coming from the channeling and timely information in our CR News reports for our readership. We also benefited from the guidance and insights our clients received from when we did channeled readings for them. This constant flow of what was to come gave our clients and us a peek into the future no one else had. These pages, man, they're getting smaller. We're getting to the end of the book, right? Okay, people felt sorry for us when they saw us selling our possessions and walking away from everything we had spent our lives accumulating. They saw us as victims. What they didn't realize was that they too would soon be facing hard choices. We knew what was coming, and we already made the bold moves to position ourselves for it. We were positioned to help others. So when it did start to hit, we could show them how to walk through it like we already had. Our advice would be genuine and have substance for people because we already experienced it for ourselves. Lesson: people who don't have a relationship want one, and people who have one want out. To have a relationship that's worth having requires an investment in each other, just like your guides make an investment in you. If you don't appreciate each other, you won't have what it takes to mutually rise above life challenges. Again, having direction from your guides is invaluable. From 2010 to 2012, our lives were like the movie Groundhog Day, a nose to the grindstone, repeating the days, months, and years before. We were living as frugally as possible while staying the course with our timely projects. By June 2011, the income faucet was completely turned off. People stopped spending money on anything that wasn't absolutely necessary. We spoke with many people who all told us the same thing, although the news never mentioned any of this. Lack of reporting makes what's really happening even more confusing. That is the reason we do what we do. We keep people informed about what's really going on so they can make reliable and timely decisions based on the truth. In 2012, I started writing this book. And at the same time, we began a wellness business. We were inspired by our guides to start both at the same time. Having Ray, the right partner, to do all this with is the best part. He was that critical missing piece that showed up at just the right time, handpicked and delivered to me by my guides, my perfect partner on the merry-go-round for what's yet to come for all of us. Closing message to you from Linda's Spirit Guide Angels. We speak for our infinite legions. You are never alone. Just as we saved an unwanted, unloved, and abused little girl, we bring hope and help to each who asked for our guidance. Our dedication to you is how we fulfill our soul's destiny. We believe in you so strongly that one of us materialized in front of Linda so you could believe. That's their photograph, right? That's them. That's them right here on the front cover of Guided. Took that photograph in Christmas time of 1994. I had seen them my whole life. They showed up for this book. By asking for our help, your life will change in an instant. We are here. You must ask. Walk with us. The end. Now, what I'm going to do is read the afterword. You don't always get the afterword, or people don't always read it or something, but I'm going to read this to you. Although I have lived a life of highs and lows, never have I felt disadvantaged or accepted defeat. For that, I thank my guides. I thank my parents second, especially my mom. While she never intentionally made me into the person I am, she made my life so unbearable that I had no other choice but to walk through it, trusting in no one but myself and my guides. There was no way out, and I couldn't run anywhere. I tried that. I had to let go and not take any of what was going on around me personally and just keep walking through the challenges, allowing what was hidden to break through at just the right time. My strengths magically revealed themselves, showing me the best course of action at any given time, every time. I couldn't have done it without the lifelong coaching, training, and guidance I received from my guides. It wasn't until 2006 that the truth of what was really happening in my life was completely revealed to me. It was not something I was expecting. Hurricane Rita, the trip to Texas, my mother's terminal illness, meeting my Uncle Bob and all my other supposedly dead relatives for the first time while my mother was dying, were all critical to my finally understanding the unresolved pieces of my life. My mother almost accomplished her lifelong goal of taking all her sinful secrets to her grave. Then there was the economic collapse in 2008. Many people were still thinking we were just in a recession and things would go back to normal soon. However, my guides have, boy, got to get these pages open. Oh. Okay, my guides have shown me what's coming. I've come to the conclusion that for some people, it's more painful to know in advance than to face and prepare for it. Then there are others who are more realistic and can handle the truth. And for these people, their lives will be easier. I wrote this book for both types of people because I believe that people get it in their own timing. I don't force you to get it, although it's easier to get it than not to. It all hinges on your ability to face reality, the truth. That's what the world needs now. This is where your guides shine because they are the truth. There's no place to run to get away from all this because it's everywhere now. No one can escape it anymore. When you decide it's your time to make your shift, do it with your guides because it's not only easier, it will be the most fascinating relationship and life journey you will ever take. The biggest achievement in my life is feeling loved. I've had people tell me they loved me before, and now, thanks to Ray and my guides, I know what it means to feel loved. I learned what people meant when they said they loved me. They loved me for who they needed me to be. Feeling loved means being appreciated for who you are. That's what made the difference. We are kindred spirits whose lives parallel each other's in many ways. Even so, I have a different way of living than most people do, and it was challenging to others who had come to share my life for a while. This is where Ray is truly unique and different from the rest. When we met, he knew about this difference in me and liked it. But he didn't know what it was like to live it. Being receptive to receiving their messages is the first step. Trusting yourself enough to act on their guidance is the key. Your ability to take action is equal to how well you trust and know yourself. That's why learning to know myself was the first part of the curriculum my guides required that I learned right from the start. Ray stepped on board and joined forces with his own spirit guides when he was 52 years old. He now knows firsthand what it's like to live a guided life. He is proof that it's never too late to start this journey. The biggest disappointment in my life is the rapid decline of society. To many people, Too many people are subscribing to selfish, ruthless bully tactics. Money has become their God and the answer to everything. These people have become increasingly more isolated, distrustful, and paranoid. They are the problem. They distrust people they don't even know, which makes no rational sense. This is not making the world a better place, and that's why it's falling apart. It needs to. I believe that this is what the merry-go-round dream was showing me, with people letting go and giving up. This has not yet happened. Remember, this book was published in 2014, but it's not far off. None of this is meant to happen to you. It's meant to happen for you. Because the world we find ourselves in is not sustainable for anyone anymore. This is a mess that needs rebalancing, a shift, a big one. We find ourselves in a world of lies and manipulation that requires everyone to look for answers in unconventional ways. To me, this has never been unconventional. Now, now that you have read this book and understand the valuable relationship, you are well on your way to establishing a lifelong connection to your own spirit guides and angels to navigate you through these challenging times ahead. Your guides are best qualified to walk you through your shift. They have no agenda. They are your biggest fans and your real life coaches. This is why it's perfect timing for this book to be written for you, for all of us. It's important to know that you do still have someone you can trust and depend on, your guides. The truth and love are both painstakingly real. You must be 100% present to fully experience them. There can be no distractions, no manipulations or strategies to outsmart them, no pretending, and no cheating. You must be fearless. You must be you, pure and simple. Not too many people are willing to do this because to them, it feels too risky. Only if you have a relationship with those who walk with you, your guides, your life coaches, as they navigate you through this life, will you have the checks and balances necessary to keep you on course. But you have to be open to this relationship and willing to act on their guidance and on time. No one knows you better than your guides, nor does anyone here in this life know what to do, especially now. All right. So, next Saturday, we finished Guided. Next Saturday, December 12th at 1 p.m. Pacific time, on my Facebook page, Facebook timeline, and my YouTube channel, I will read to you from the 137 tips, learnings, lessons, and awarenesses in Guided, sprinkled throughout Guided. Just when I thought I was done writing Guided, my guides started to wake me up at 1 a.m. every night for 2 weeks, starting from the beginning of my manuscript, stopping me where they added a tip, a learning, a lesson, or an awareness. They told me these would help the reader understand how guidance works in their life. These are like afterthoughts of reflection on what was really going on as I was living it, living in two worlds, not just this one. This is what consciousness is all about, being aware of what's really going on from this greater awareness. In my training, I show you, like my guides showed me, how to do this. That's going to start the beginning of next year. But in the meantime, we'll see you next Saturday at 1 p.m. Pacific time.